Welcome to Spirit Sessions View of the Light. So glad to have you all with us. On this special episode, we're pre-recording ahead of time, but you still get to come in and smell the sage, cleaning up our space, getting ready. Yep, take it on. It's for everyone. So today we are having a return of an amazing guest who's got so much interesting information. You could just sit there and wow, this is what it's like. And so first, I want Rhonda to tell us about Josh.
I'm going to I'll put Josh on the big screen because Josh, we were just talking about, I guess it doesn't really matter which dimension you're in. We're here now. We're pre-recording for Sunday. It's sort of like what you work in. You work in all times and spaces and dimensions. So everything we talk about here is still relevant all across the times. We're so glad you could come back. It's been too long. We're so happy that we found you again and that Michelle hooked us up with you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
You've been really busy since we last spoke to you. Can you give us just a little bit of what's been going on in your life since then?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say again, it's an honor to be here. I love being able to run my mouth and share about all the cool things that I get to, I'm working on, and you ladies are just great with the questions and all the great stuff that you guys do. So thank you. I've had a YouTube channel for 10 years, as long as I've been doing what I do. And really the first time I started any kind of paranormal investigations or any kind of work like that, I started putting it on the channel. And as the channel was kind of growing, I realized at some point I needed to kind of branch off and start doing some other things along. I'm a medium, so I'm doing mediumship readings without any kind of equipment, just me, but I also do my advanced instrumental transcommunication, which is using different pieces of equipment, programs. I use basic voice recorders. I might even use, and I created an app. So that's what I've done. I wrote my book. I came out with my book, Finding Hope in the Afterlife. It talks about my story and all the research that I've done in the last 10 years. And then I created an app for everyone based on all the technology that I've been using and kind of discovering on my own through the years. I put it into an app, a light version of an app. It's called the H.O.P.E Spirit Box Pro, and that's on iOS and Android, and it's for free. And it's not a miracle app where you can just turn it on and instantly start. You may get instant replies, but you got to put a little focus, a little patience, and use your intuitive ability, because we are the greatest connection. So I've done that, and then I've held some live events. I had a live event in St. Augustine, in New Orleans, in Savannah, Georgia, where people come out and I get to do what I do on my channel. And for people virtually, I get to do live in person. I get to take them through an investigation. I give a presentation on my work, and then I do a group session where I get to reach out to them. And every month I have my Patreon account, my patreon.com/Hope Paranormal. That's where I do my group sessions. And so people that can't afford to book a private session with me, let's say, they can, for $25 a month, they can put in a loved one's name, ask up to 3 questions, and I conduct a 2-hour plus session, and we ask for 20 plus people in these sessions. And it's amazing what comes through. It's amazing what we capture, validations for loved ones every single month. And it's very detailed information. So that's been going great. And I finally just released the pro version of my app, but it's not for the phones yet. It is a program that's so advanced and kind of a really big program that it's a web-based program. So it's meant for desktops and computers, but it's a membership. It's $5 a month. You get 3 different types of boxes in there to use, 3 different types of contraptions, devices, you want to say. You can review your footage. You can caption it, you can export it, you can do all these amazing things within this program that people would normally have to get a number of different things to kind of get that all to happen. So it's and I'm using it on my channel, showing that I'm asking for well-known people, I'm asking for unknown people that are just regular clients, loved ones. So, regardless of if it's a well-known or someone that's just, a regular person that, wasn't known, I should say, it doesn't matter. These sessions produce evidence, detailed, specific, direct responses, answering our questions. And it's just remarkable. So I just been working on that. I don't find there's no time. I don't have enough time, but I'm trying.
That's great. You have a guide that kind of helps you out with this on the other side, do you?
I have a few guides, and it's interesting. They're very funny. They're funny. They're sometimes they're sleeping. Sometimes they say they're sleeping. Sometimes they're there helping. Anytime I need them for a session, I ask them for their help. The one that I've always worked with and that has kind of come and gone. I mean, he went somewhere and I knew he was gone, and then he just came back recently and he said, I'm back. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we have this, there's Michael, there's Chris. Chris is one that the other spirits will mention there that is helping. He's here tonight. He's not here tonight. This one's here tonight. So there's a number. So there's Michael, Chris, there's Brian, there's Patrick. And then there's Betsy. And Betsy's always been a very good one. She's like the female voice that comes through. And believe it or not, I believe, based on some of the sessions, that since my powerful sessions with Gabby Petito, that she's been around. I just have nothing but absolute love for her. I mean, she's just one of the most amazing souls that I've ever encountered. And so when I do ask for her, she comes through very strong. She says that she's around a lot, and that and she's helped with sessions. So, I know it takes a village, because there's definitely a number of others on the other side that are helping.
It's obvious that you have work to do if they show up, right, to help you
Correct.
along the ways. Your book, Finding Hope, I find it kind of a double entendre. It's finding you, and you're helping the spirits, but you're also helping all those people on this side, because you're giving the spirits a voice, but you're also giving the people on this side the hope that they know that there's an afterlife. I mean, people need proof, right? People want proof that there is. They're afraid of the unknown just by nature. So
that's really interesting you say that. First, when I first started Hope, it started as an acronym which meant Helpers of Paranormal Entities. As I continued on with my work and continued to work with not just the dead, but the living, I realized how this work was helping on both sides of the veil. And so then the acronym for Hope started to evolve into helping other people evolve. And that's really what Hope is now. And that's why I just started a new channel, which is Joshua Lewis Medium on YouTube, showing more of my personal stuff and more of the sessions I'm doing that are not to do with well-known people. Because I do get that my most viewed videos a lot of times are the well-known people. And I don't blame them, because there's some really amazing, like I just asked for Patrick Swayze. There's no way, first of all, I'll say, to prove that any soul that I'm getting is actually them. We can just question them, quiz them, try to get enough evidence that will give us enough responses that will, validate and hopefully personal enough information. But Patrick, I asked for Patrick, and it was just remarkable what came through. And I used my H.O.P.E Pro to do it. And he really came through very well. I asked him about, is Ghost really like, is it really like Ghost, the movie? Can you move stuff like Sam does in the subway? Can he learn that quickly? He says, it takes years. It's not right away. It takes years, he says. So, he was, but he validated so much. He was really great, and I find that, some of the people I've asked for, George Harrison, John Lennon, Princess Diana. I've asked for.
Oh, yeah. I'm related to her.
I mean, just amazing stuff. And people could say, oh, phooey. First of all, why would they even come to you? Who the heck are you? You're a guy in South Florida, but Princess Diana is going to come to Josh in South Florida. I don't blame anyone for that type of skepticism. All I can do as a medium is attempt to connect to that soul. They can say, I don't know you and I don't want to talk to you. And that's happened. It's very few times, thank God. But there have been times that they've said, I don't want to do it. I don't know who you are. Or I asked for JFK. He wasn't that, he wasn't. I did ask him some personal questions and he said, do I know you? And no,
Oh, I just saw it.
Yeah, you saw that? Something
Yeah.
was moved. Yeah.
Maybe it was,
This side. It was on that side.
That side.
Remember that 11-minute marker around is when that happened. I'll check on that. But so anyway, I say this: if there's only a few people out there that actually legitimately do this work and do it well, and I mean, I may not do a lot of things well, but I can do this work well. I can say that, and I get a lot of help doing it. But I'm proud of the work that I'm doing, and why wouldn't someone that wants to talk to get messages across that they know they see this guy has a platform that he could share their words with? Why wouldn't they want to talk? You know what I'm saying? So
they've got nothing but time.
Yeah, I mean, and they're very interested in this kind of work. There are people on the other side that are working just as hard as I am. They're working on the other side. A lot of these loved ones on the other side that I'm asking for during my patron group sessions, the loved ones are saying, hey, this is hard. Chris is giving us a rundown of how it works. They'll say things like this.
Wow.
So you hear them talking about the guides with the same names that I've just named off are helping them, teaching them, showing them the work. They say that I have to see them in my mind. If I don't see them in my mind, their responses don't come through as strong.
Oh, yeah.
So people will say, I just got your app and all I hear is gibberish. And I go, well, okay, hold on. Give it a second. First of all, I've been doing this 10 years and I still get sessions where I don't get stuff really. It happens. Why are you going to just download an app and turn it on for the first time and just start getting responses and you're going to understand it? Let's be realistic here, but you have to believe that if you could see the evidence I'm showing you and you believe in me and what I'm doing, then you know that it's possible. There are guys that I watched on YouTube before it started this, and I saw them getting great, amazing responses. And I said, well, if they can, I can. And maybe that doesn't mean I'm going to get it right away, but it means that I have to work on my connection, So, that's what it is. You guys mentioned that, or Rhonda mentioned that, you downloaded the app. And I said I wanted to show you really quickly just a couple of pointers on just how kind of it works and the science behind it.
It's a free app for this version.
The phone version is a light version and is free, but it is very effective. I would say will help support what I'm doing, but also use the more advanced version. At least try it at some point on the pro version. But so I'm going to open it up. And this is StreamYard, so everything is reversed. So I'm going to be kind of confused here.
Did you mirror it? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's fine. I can do that?
Yeah, you can mirror that in your settings.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's fine. So I'm going to hit the little tab. So there's 3 tabs on the bottom. This is the home screen, shows you a tutorial video and my channel and all that. But you hit the middle tab on the bottom, and it brings you to the box. Now, again, Spirit doesn't have vocal cords. They still have their voice with them, and they still have an astral body on the other side. But it's hard for them to get their voice through to this dimension.
Takes a lot of energy, right?
Takes a lot of energy, and a lot of times that would come through more on the recorder as an EVP, like a whisper. Okay, that's kind of so without giving them really much any sound or anything, they can get you a whisper. a very light, on their own. But if we give them a voice, okay, if we give them a voice, but without words, we don't want to give them words because that's going to give us a false positive. So we want to give them gibberish, human speech, but gibberish. So I take human speech, I reverse it, I chop it up, I slow it down, and I reassemble it into small little bits. So it's really just, just all gibberish, okay? If we're looking to speak with a loved one, we want to focus on them first. We can't just say, hey, I'm going to ask for you, and then hope they come through. You can try that. That's fine. It's not like they won't come through. But to give them the better chance, you want to try to give them the best chance by focusing intuitively on them, trying to see them in your mind's eye, third eye, trying to bring them into your energy. Then you ask for them, and we're going to pick, let's say, if it was an older male, we'll just pick an older male bank. So you pick, let me do that again. Sorry. So you choose a bank, you pick the screen. There's a bunch of different voices, all no words, and you pick I'm going to pick an older male. Okay. The reverb is on because we want to give it a little echo that's already built in. You can turn that off, but you don't want to turn that off. That's for like if you're using some separate device like a spirit box. Just using the app alone. You also want to record because a lot of times what you hear in real time you can't make out. You got to go back and listen. So you want to hit record. I'm not going to do it right now. Make sure my volume is up. And then you ask a question. So you hit record. You say, hello, Grandpa Frank, are you there? Or whatever, and you ask the question, and you open and close. And a very short amount of sound will come out. Now, you probably didn't hear that because I don't have the volume up too much.
No, I could hear it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But people are opening this gate for too long. And if you keep it open for too long, too much sound is going to come out. And even if the soul used it, it will be mixed in with the gibberish, so you will not make it out. You're trying to get them to use it in that short time frame of sound. And so some of the response may be cut off, but you got to tell them 2-3 words at the most. 1 word, try to just work this with me. And then later you can open it a little bit more. So again, it's like hit record. Hello. See you. You hear him? It says, see you. See you. Perfect. See you. It was I see you. You know what I'm saying? So you can go back. I didn't record, but you got that on recording, so you can have that in real time. And that's how cool. I see you too, in my mind. So I mean, it's awesome. Thank you for using that. And when you're done after the recording, you stop recording, and then you can go to your recording tab, and you can find the recording that's tagged, press it, hit play. You can listen to it again, or you could swipe to the side. If you don't want it, you can swipe this way and delete it. But if you want to save it, you can rename it, or you can hit the download button and save it to your phone or send it to someone.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's really cool. I mean, I just got it like just before you got on and was playing around with it.
Just don't open the gate too long. That's all.
Yeah, and I just fire video. Yeah, and that's I tried not to. So I started talking to my guides because a
lot of times the guides come through.
The fear always is there. Like I don't want to creep myself out. I shouldn't creep myself. I argue with myself all the time because I know everybody's here all the time, but sometimes
Well, I don't mean to cut you off, but let's address that, because what you're bringing up is a very valid point, right? We're talking about fear. People think that by opening that gate sometimes, because of horror movies, because of paranormal shows, because of everything else that they've been told, people scream at them, religious people scream, a lot of dogmatic things and things like that, that they think that they're opening the portal to hell, and they're letting it's like in Ghostbusters when they all fly out of the building and they flood the city. It's like, that's not happening. Okay. Just like with that, you have to connect. They're not gaining access to your soul because you're using your phone. No. You have to give that access, and you have to do the connecting. If you're connecting with a guide, you're connecting with a guide. Does that mean that some a-hole couldn't try to run in real quick and go, and yell something negative or whatever? Sure, it could happen, but that's all that is. It's the same as you making a post on Facebook about something positive in your life, and some troll comes along and leaves a nasty comment. Now you have the power to delete the comment and block the person. And you can do the same. If there's someone calls your phone, I just had a scam artist rip me off on $3,000 from posing as Bank of America. This is Bank of America fraud department, and I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah. And they're like, and we're going to send you a code real quick. Okay, to verify it's you. And I'm like, okay. And then they send me the code and I read it back to them. Well, they're changing my password at that moment, and that's how Bank of America does it. That's how they verify things. The point I'm bringing up is that this person still had to try to gain access through codes and other things. It's the same as on the other side. You are more powerful than you realize. And if you believe in your higher power and you see yourself washed in the light of protection, and you're in love, and you make a statement that I do not welcome anything negative. I never do. Only the positive, the light, my guides, the approved guides and spirits can talk to me, my loved ones. That's it. And that's what you got to do. And, I give in the pro version, there is a grounding meditation and a visualization meditation that I give you in the pro. So you can watch this 15-minute guided meditation of me guiding you through it that offers protection, energy, and a visualization to bring your loved one in. So by the time you're done with it, you get done, you open your eyes, and you just hit click and start talking on the box. And that's the way it's designed.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I call in Archangel Michael even when I do the show, because we open portals not only to us, but to everybody else. Because when you're sending out this energy, people are opening up their minds. So you want to make sure they're kind of got a protection going on. So, we have a spirit angel. What is it? Spirit Sessions guardian angel hanging out with us all the time.
Yeah.
So it's kind
of. I agree.
So it's important anytime you kind of go. I'm sure when you go into a room, you get yourself energy protected. So,
I got to be honest. I used to do a little bit more ritualistic stuff, and I think that there's power in ritual. Clearly I meditate and pray every day. So, in my communication with my higher power and my gurus and, guru, and then my other guides and stuff, that's there. But I don't feel like I have to, do anything like going into a place. I may say, I'll say a prayer. A lot of times before I do a talk or I do any kind of thing, I really just turn it over to my higher power, which is for me, Jesus Christ. And, so I say, Big J, cover me, you got me. And then I exercise the faith and that's it. Then I go along and I just talk and I act as if, because that's all I have to do. That's where my faith, I exercise it like a muscle. I try to.
Yeah. And it's you've got that muscle memory done in.
Right. It's being grooved. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been grooved. So it's always nice to be protected like that. So your book, tell us a little bit about your book and how you came to that.
Well, I knew I was told, like, I felt that I wanted to write a book, but I didn't know. I've written scripts, I film production. I produced 2 feature films. I've written 3 major scripts that one of them, the films have won some, medium awards, and the script. So I felt good as a writer to some degree. But the book was a whole nother animal in a sense. The first part of it, the first 100 and something pages or whatever it is. It's only, how many pages is this book? Hold on. It's like 233 or so. So the first like 80 or so, I think 100 pages almost, or, it's my story, and my story is pretty wild. I definitely had a very checkered past, crazy past, addiction. I had to go to prison for a couple years, a little over a couple years, 2.5 years. And I shot a dope dealer in a deal gone bad, and was sent away, and could have gone away for longer, but didn't, thank God. And so I talk about all that. I'm very open.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm very open about what I went through, and that I don't hide that. You know what I mean? I feel that my experience can help others. And so clearly I'm very open about it. But then I take people through my research. And what's really cool about it is as I'm talking about a story or an incident, an experience that I had in the book, a lot of times there is a footnote that you look at, you go down to the bottom and you look, and there's a link that has a corresponding video on my channel that goes along with what I just talked about. So it's an experience in
neat.
that. Yeah. So it's not just reading it. I mean, I've had a lot of people say, and it's a compliment that they said, I just couldn't stop reading. So I'll go back and watch the videos later because I just wanted to keep reading. And I was like, okay, that's really cool. Thank you. But I'm like, I really want you to go and see the videos while you're reading too. But anyway, I show visual evidence. I some amazing pictures that I've captured. I talk about, the misconceptions in the Bible about the work that I do. The misinterpretations, the books that were left out. I talk about the facts that I have uncovered, that they are facts. It's not like, oh, this is my belief. Yes, I still have beliefs, and I'll voice my beliefs when talking about my work. But there are facts that I have captured now from it. I hear my daughter, I think, at the door. But anyway,
as long as it's your daughter.
Yeah. So. It's just, the thing is this, I was not too excited about taking on writing the book. What's interesting about it is that in my sessions leading up to me beginning it, the guides kept on saying in every session, start the book now. You have to start the book. So it's very interesting. It's like this was very important, and it was going to unlock other aspects of my future. But I didn't want to do it. Give me 1 second.
Sure. It's live, guys, so that's okay.
Yeah, we're family friendly.
We're family friendly, yeah. Okay. We'll be right back. So if you guys I have it on my phone. That really
exciting,
cool.
Rhonda.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I have to say I was a little hesitant. And I thought, well, call in my protection, but the voices are kind of cool. The video on side is really cool. You just go and I just went into the Apple Store and downloaded it in no time, and it doesn't seem to take much. It's pretty intuitive how to work. It's pretty intuitive how to work. But I was wondering. Hey.
Sorry about that. Little 4-year-old just she's ready for Dad to come out of the office. That's what she's doing. But anyway, what was I saying? I don't remember. I was saying something
about having to write the book because you got urged to do it.
And that's what I understood is that they kept prompting me and really moving me to write the book. And so as I was writing the book, I would, I had to do like a timeline. I mean, I had to do a lot of work to prep just to even begin writing, because the research had to all be collected from all the stuff that I've done. And then my sources, I had to cite sources and other types of references. So there's all of that had to go into it. And as I'm writing it, I'm getting excited because I'm just feeling it. And then I'll do a session and they're like, we love what we're reading so far. Things like that. The book is coming out great. So they're reading along with me. There were things that I didn't want to put in there because they were too personal. And I would go past that point in time in the book. And then I would get brought back to that section and they would say things like, that has to go in there. So there were things that I was afraid to put in there. And they were like, it doesn't matter. It's important. It needs to go in there. So this was a collective effort, a real collective effort on my guides, the divine. And the people that read this book, they say, I've read it 2-3 times now. It's one of the best books I've ever read. And I'm going, I feel like I'm one of 5 writers on this book. I can't even take credit for it. It's how much I feel like there were even better writers writing with me on this book. Wow. And that's how I feel about it,
So now you have to make it into a movie.
Someone said that, and I've already made the first part of my life about a movie. It's called Not for Human Consumption, and it's a full feature film that I made with when I was in the film industry, but this is This
This would be like a documentary for
Yeah,
Gaia.
this would have to be something different. Yeah,
This would be like a documentary for Gaia, and yeah. If you've
We'll
ever
see.
watched any of those paranormal caught on camera, this would be much better.
No, this is a very spiritual thing. This has nothing to do with scary darkness. This is about real science meets spirituality and the light. This is about real afterlife research. This is about pushing the boundaries of ITC and what's possible. And even in the paranormal world, I'm like, I guess a pariah. I'm like someone that people don't, the ones that are really stuck in their beliefs. Everything's a demon. Everything's all negative. It's like, they're like, this guy, people have some choice words, but, I have to be on the fringe. I mean, I have to keep pushing forward and going past what we've already uncovered already,
Yeah, I mean, we always are trying to prove to the skeptics, isn't it sad? Well, other things that we know in our heart. So you have to,
right.
We're always driven to prove. We have to prove ourselves. It's kind of sad, but
it is.
I guess that's the way we help other people evolve, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to keep having to prove myself and defend myself and things like that. And I look at the positive reinforcement that I get. A lot of people love the work, and so that's where the love and where all that good stuff comes from. You get the negatives, but when I see someone that isn't calling me names, let's say, someone that's like, I just don't believe this. I want to believe, but I don't. Those are the ones I want to take a couple extra minutes and try to spend time with if I can. And I'm willing to, and it's draining, but I'm willing to try. You know what I mean? So that's
we all have those friends. Yeah, like how can you explain something and then you relate what you know and hope that they believe you? Well, that's the way it is for me. Right. So I don't know how it is for you, but yeah, there's so much to talk about. So do you ever have? I don't even know. I know by watching those ghost hunter shows, I know you and I both have the same opinion about some of them. But they use the Estes method. Can you use the Estes method with the sort of?
I've tried the Estes method. I haven't had much luck with it. I tried it on one of my New Orleans events, and I just, like any other method, it would require multiple times to objectively try it in order for me to have any kind of. I have seen it being worked with on other teams and things of that nature, and it looks like there's some really interesting stuff that comes through. If the person's ears are really muffed and the eyes are really covered and there's no sound and someone is talking and asking questions and this guy is only supposed to recite what he's hearing from the box, and all of a sudden you start hearing a conversation going on between the person with the thing on and the guy who's standing up, that's very compelling stuff. I don't know if I need to do that in order for me to communicate. I don't get a lot of things moving around, and I don't get a lot of poltergeist or paranormal type of activity like that. I think
orbs.
Yeah, well, I get orbs. I get some serious orbs, and I capture spirit photography. I capture faces on a digital ITC and water ITC. I capture visual evidence a lot of times. But the audio, and it's like, I don't need to spend 8 hours in an abandoned building. I was just at the Savannah Historic Theater, which is one of the most, best locations I've ever been to. A lot of activity, and and a door opened on its own. And after the door opened, these amazing, beautiful orbs started moving all around. It was really cool, and the communication was amazing. But we were there for 2 hours. We didn't have to be there for 6, 7, 8 hours and sleep in sleeping bags in the dark and all that other stuff. Yeah. We just went in with our intention, stated our intention. We're here out of respect and love. Does anyone want to communicate? Some did, some didn't. And some showed themselves, some sat and watched. And I said, I feel a lot of you just sitting and watching. And they said, yes, you're right. We're right there. So, they'll say things like that and they'll do that. So, yeah.
So, Josh, were you a medium before you started this work, or is that something? Is this what drove you to become one? Or opened you up to become?
It didn't drive me to become one. I didn't choose to become one. That's the thing. I started, and that's what my presentation was on earlier, as I was telling you, about it. That I worked with. I was going to locations. I was recording EVP with my partner Nikki. We were doing paranormal type investigations. someone said, hey, you know, our friend Connie is a medium. And I said, Connie? And she said, you know, they said, yeah. And so I reached out to this woman that I knew, but didn't know she was a medium. And I asked her if she would come out with us one night, and she did. And I already had captured responses and at locations, and she was able, without being fed any information, she was able to tell us stuff that I was not giving her anything. She was not told anything. So a couple months working with her and really just validating the stuff that she was getting, seeing that she was very powerful and accurate. She said, I'm getting a message. She says, I'm getting a message for you and your partner, for Nikki. And she said that you too are going to start picking up on spirit yourselves. And I was like, what? And my partner, Nikki, she was like, yeah, right. That's crazy. This woman is proving to be even kookier than I thought, you know, is how she was thinking. And, you know, a couple months later, I came home on Christmas Eve. I was doing some stuff, and Nikki felt different. And she was like, I don't know. She's like, I feel weird. I feel different. And I said, what do you mean? And she says, just, I don't know. She's like, ask me something about something that only you know. And I did. I asked her about a friend of mine who died that she didn't know of. And she was 100% accurate. And we proceeded to sit in the garage, like where we hung out in our chairs and smoked our cigarettes at the time. And I proceeded to quiz her and ask her questions about anything and anything that I could. And she was accurate just on everything I asked her. It was just remarkable. And about a month after working with her ability now, not just that medium's ability, but now I'm working with her, my partner, who I trust even more. She's got the message through her ability that I was going to start getting my ability now. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. And a month went by and I was not getting anything. Nothing was going on. And I found myself becoming increasingly impatient and agitated somewhat. And I asked what that was. I was like, you know, through Connie, I asked, I said, what's going on? You know, what are you feeling here? And she says, you're being purged of more of your ego. And in order for the gift to come about, more of your ego needs to be purged out of you. And it's very uncomfortable for you. And I said, that's what this is. Because I mean, I was agitated over everything. Anything was bothering me. And I finally was like, you know what? Screw it. Screw this ability. I don't even care about it anymore. I love you, Jesus, but I don't want to hear about this anymore. I'm done. I give it up to you. I'm done. I don't even care about this darn gift anymore, whatever. And then the gift came. So a lot of that let go and let God type talk, you know, is really powerful, because that's exactly what needed to happen. I was holding on. Ego was holding on. When I finally said, you know, do your will, thy will be done, not mine. You know, that's when it came. And I've done over 3,000 paid readings to this point, from that point, you know, that without my box, without my gear, you know, just me and my intuitive ability. I worked with Deborah Lynn Katz, PhD, who is, I think she's been on your show probably. She's, you know, an amazing woman who runs the International School of Clairvoyance. It's virtual, but, you know, but I became one of her best students, you know, doing readings for her at times, and she would do them for me. And so I got to, you know, work and learn how to work with my ability that was being awoken by Christ, in my ability, you know, in my opinion. And, you know, it's interesting. People get mad. They're like, you know, Leviticus and Deuteronomy, and you are not to consort with soothsayers and necromancers, and they quote the Bible and they throw these verses, you know, and all this stuff at you, you know.
And tomorrow I'm going to a stoning. No, sorry.
You're going where?
Going to a stoning. Yeah,
a stoning, no. Right.
Yeah, so, not doing that.
You know, and so people, and I talk about how, you know, the word medium wasn't invented until the mid 1800s. So for it to show up in a Bible means it came from someone's interpretation of the Bible, right? Because the Bible wasn't written in the 1800s. And there's a lot of other aspects to it. Let's not quote old Levitical law. If you did and you want to throw that at me, then let's make sure you're not eating shellfish. Let's make sure you're not wearing makeup. Let's make sure you're not working on the weekends or using electricity. So there's a lot of things that happen in old Jewish law. I mean, you were allowed to kill people that did certain things to you, and you're not allowed to do. So let's not like quote old Levitical law and then leave out the rest of it, all of the other stuff, right? That's now we're cherry picking. But there is something that's very interesting. It's that, so people bring up the Bible. They like to use it against me all the time. And I like to give them one verse. And one verse that I like to give them, there's many other verses that I can bring up. And I bring them up in my book. But just the one verse alone is 1 Corinthians 12, 4 through 11. And that's where Paul is talking about the gifts, the spiritual gifts. And then, you mentioned Paul. Paul. Oh, I'm like, of course, no shit. Sorry. But, Paul's amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But who's to do, who, like, it's like you give them good, sound counter evidence, a counter argument. And they they don't like anything that's going to challenge their set of beliefs. So it's like, even when you quote their own source, they're going to try to discount even that part of and it's like, no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to choose the first part of it is okay, but the second part is not okay for you. In 1 Corinthians, Paul, he's talking about there are different kinds of spiritual gifts, but the same Spirit is the source of them all, and that's God. There are different kinds of service, but we serve the same Lord. God works in different ways, but it's the same God who does the work in all of us. And he goes on to say, a spiritual gift is given to each of us so we can help each other. To one person, God gives the ability to give wise advice. To another, the same Spirit, God, gives a message of special knowledge. The same Spirit gives great faith to another. And to someone else, that one Spirit gives the gift of healing. I mean, you got someone that's got a gift of healing. There are healers out there, right? He gives one person the power to perform miracles and another the ability to prophecy. Well, what is a psychic? I mean, okay, I'm saying like he's talking about the gift of prophecy. Well, that's what I do. If someone is coming to me and asking what I see for them about something that's going on, I will tell them what I'm getting. And I'm asking Christ to give me that message. I'm not asking for some random spirit. I'm asking and connecting with my divine, connection to try to give them what, and how many people have come back and said, yes, this has happened months, years later and said, Josh, what you said came through. And I said, it's not me, it's Spirit. It's the same Spirit. It's the same Spirit, the gift of prophecy. He gives someone else the ability to discern whether a message is from Spirit of God or from another spirit. So here he's talking about, he goes, and again, I'll finish. He says, it is the one and only Spirit who distributes all of these gifts. He alone decides which gift each person should have. Well, my gift of mediumship, my gift of prophecy, my gift of intuition, intuitive ability came from the same Spirit. It came from Christ for me, and that's what I recognize.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I've always, you have to grow up in Baptist youth group to know.
I grew up Catholic, so I understand.
Yeah. Well, Catholics are a little bit more open.
They were. You are right. No, you are right about that.
They have the angels going on, and angels. I didn't even know about angels because
Right. No, that's true.
We talk
Baptist?
about
Baptist, you're saying? Southern Baptist, or
Well, no, it's Canadian Baptist, but probably just as bad as where I was going to.
Gotcha. You're in Canada, so that's okay. I got you.
Yeah,
right.
It's okay. But but they had a better youth group than my church did, so I went there. Cuter boys. But anyways, they're very strict about all that stuff, and
Sure.
But they didn't, they just cherry picked the Bible, like you said.
The cherry picking, and that's why I say that like I found my guru Paramahansa Yogananda. He wrote the autobiography of a yogi, right? The most important book I think I've ever read, next to some other, the certain parts of the Bible. But really this book explains it all. For me, he was a big proponent and lover of Christ. He shared about Christ. He wrote about Christ, studied about Christ, right? And he had no religion. He was about science and spirituality, the science of communicating with God. And so he was very big on that. And he was big on, you do not take the pastor's word on Sunday. You're supposed to put it to a test.
Yeah.
and experience it for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't just take my word for it, he says. Try it. Put it into effect. At some point, you have to stop reading all the books, he's saying, and start applying what you're reading instead of just keep searching for the next answer in another book. And that, so if some of
Be
those
your own
things,
guru is what he's saying,
really, I mean, we are, he goes, you do need a guru to help bring you even further along, but we will find the same path. And if you had a guru, we will find the same destination, even if there's many different paths, he's saying. But some will reach that destination faster than others. And he says that, Jesus knew this, Krishna knew this, and the other enlightened Mahavatars and the beings knew this. And that's why even in the afterlife or in the next life, if I had a guru, I don't know if I had him as my guru prior, but I do feel a connection to Christ. So I don't know if I feel that there's more that have been revealed. I feel that I had some connection with Christ prior. But Yogananda talks about in his book, he talks about how you don't need a living guru in the flesh, that if you find someone that you are connected to, or you connect with their teachings, their writings, that even after their death, they can still help you, but even more so on the other side than when they were here. And I thought that was very interesting. And I thought that was very powerful. But of course, that's just kind of, I don't want to say it's hearsay, but I mean, that's what he's telling us in his book. How do we know that to be true? What's amazing is that while I was reading this, while I was learning Kriya Yoga and becoming initiated into Kriya Yoga, which is the highest form of meditation that he teaches, I was doing sessions and his name was being mentioned, that he was there. He came through and said his name in his own voice, proving for a fact that what he talked about in his book is true, that I will be there to help any student that is wholeheartedly learning and needing my help. That is mind-blowing. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That's when, just call me and I'll be there, right?
So it's about the personal connection is what I was getting at. And that's what I meant to say, is that it's my personal connection with Christ that gets me where I go, it gets me places. It's my connection, my personal connection with Guru. And then the sharing of that with others, of just my personal experience, strength, and hope. That is what's really important. I think fellowshipping in a church is really cool. If you could find community, find fellowshipping, enhance your connection. If it's enhancing your connection, that's great. But if you're going there to check in on Sundays, to hear that sermon, and then it's back to normal life Monday through Friday for the most part, that is not, I believe, the way. And so that's why I think that God is more interested in your personal connection outside of the church than he is with anyone that's within the church.
Right. I think the church is there just to support your connection. It's not supposed to be the connection.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's my personal.
That's my personal take on it too, and that's just my opinion as well. Right? Doesn't mean it's right. Just means that's
that's my interpretation.
Right.
It's been so super having you here, and I'm very curious about your other endeavors and the little presentation. So we're going to have you back soon again. I'd like to do that now.
Yeah, that's
given everybody the Josh primer. So we've given everyone the Josh primer. But Josh, can you tell us what your favorite song is?
Okay, so my favorite song, I have a lot. Really, it's New York, New York by Frank Sinatra. I really love that song a lot. I'm a big Yankee fan. But if what song applies to really how I feel right now, I mentioned is there's a song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers called H.O.P.E, and there's a line in the song. The whole song is just great. And musically, it's just great. But the song or the line, the more I see, the less I know, the more I'd like to let it go, is a very powerful line that I feel applies, because the longer I keep doing this, I definitely gain wisdom, but I feel like there's a lot less that I know, and it's a very humbling, but also very comfortable place at times. It's a very freeing place to be.
Lots of questions open up to you when you have that kind of mindset, and
Right.
you can go everywhere. Your favorite crystal?
Yeah, my favorite crystal. I mean, I love quartz, and my birthstone is amethyst. So I'm born in February. I'm an Aquarius,
Right.
so amethyst I have a lot of amethyst around. But I was showing you guys that this is a little piece of moldavite, which comes from space. It's like a meteor liquid, and then the Libyan glass, which is kind of the same
Wow,
tektite thing, and I have it tied together with a piece of gold string, gold wire.
that's awesome.
And I yeah, so moldavite.
Awesome.
It gives you a good alien connection. And have you seen any UFOs lately, or have you had connections with extra dimensionals besides this? I guess it's just
No,
yes,
I know
you
what you
do,
mean.
but more like
Um,
aliens.
yeah, right. Extraterrestrial. Yeah, I mean I've seen stuff in the sky a couple times now. I've also captured a photo of what looks like an alien's face. In
How
some
do
of
you
the
do that? That's what I was wondering.
that's done through scrying. There's a couple different ways of doing that. There's water scrying. There's digital ITC, which is just like using the matrixing of the camera, of a bad camera or an infrared camera, to capture like almost like faces, really very distinct faces will come through on this black backdrop. So
Wow.
using that as a medium, but the water ITC, and so yes, I've captured, and then I've captured a lot. A lot of people now have been asking since the disclosure of the Navy stuff that's been going on. A lot of people here that are in my group sessions are asking their loved ones on the other side, have you seen ETs? Do you know if aliens are real? And they're all saying yes, they've seen them. They want to help us. They've been here in the sessions. They said, Josh, they've been here. You've had them here. So yes, there's a lot of evidence pointing to, they say spirits coming from spaceships. So there's a really some real proof.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And I know that your presentation touches on that, so that's why
Yes.
I'd love
Yes,
to
it
have
does.
you give that presentation.
It touches on it's about the divine and aliens, and there's a
Yeah.
connection there, and it's something really powerful. So yeah,
That's an awesome.
it's a PowerPoint that I can take you through.
That would be great. That would be
Yeah.
great. I have to do some. Teresa, if you got any questions left for Josh, I know you've been sitting there just absorbing it all there today.
I just think it's so exciting seeing someone pursue what they love and going through all the learning and unlearning and things. So I'm inspired over here. So thank you.
Thank you guys. It really means a lot. I was just telling someone that it's so hard. I make a quarter of what I used to make, but I'm very happy because of what I get to do, and I can't imagine doing anything other than that to try to increase that paycheck, just to have that more financial security. I'm okay, but I've had some tight moments sometimes with some finances, and there's been some moments, especially through the pandemic and things, but it's like I can't think of anything else that I should be doing, want to be doing. It's got to be this,
Yeah.
So
So quickly tell us where people can find you and connect up for the session. So you have Patreon.
Yep, I've got everything, my Patreon group sessions, my private sessions, my free app, the pro app, my book, events when I hold them, all of that is on HOPEparanormal.com. HOPEparanormal.com is the website where you can find all things Hope related. So yeah, just HOPEparanormal.com. I have my YouTube channel. I just started a new YouTube channel called Joshua Louis Medium, because it shows more of the personal mediumship stuff that I'm doing as opposed to what's on Hope, which is more some of the well-known sessions I do. But yeah, everything is found at HOPEparanormal.com.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, and we will invite you back soon, and we'll get a date so we can get you
Awesome.
in and have Bex here too. And thank you guys for watching, and please comment in the comments, and we'll see you next week live again when we get back. So Thanks. I'm going to just take us out and I'll be right back.